partly you're feeling left out because you are left out, right? That's just a fact that there's a part of the experience right now that you're not going to be able to do. And your job right now as an athlete isn't to train and compete. Your job is to take care of your body. That's your job. And that is how you continue to contribute to the team.
Welcome to the Injured Athletes Club podcast, the show that helps athletes cope with sports injuries and bounce back stronger. I'm journalist Cindy Kuzma.
And I'm mental skills coach Carrie Jackson. We're sorry you're here, but we're glad you're with us.
This week, Coach Carrie is going to use her expertise in injury recovery and mental performance to answer a question from one of you out there, one of our listeners. But before she does, she wants to share one resource with you.
If you haven't had a chance yet, I highly encourage you to go to our website, injuredathletesclub.com, and then click on the button that says shop, because we have an incredible official merchandise store for the Injured Athletes Club. There are all kinds of wonderful products over there for you to be able to feel like, even if you can't do your sport right now in the way that you want, that you are still a part of something that's really, really important, which is the Injured Athletes Club, even though we know it's not the club that you had hoped to be a part of. So you can get water bottles over there. There's workout t-shirts. There's hoodies, my favorite. There's also really cool stickers. I've got one on my water bottle. So there's some really great stuff over there that both represent Injured Athletes Club as well as some of our favorite sayings from the podcast and our book Rebound. So if you know someone in your life that is injured and could use a little, a gift of encouragement, or you yourself need a gift of encouragement, head over there at theinjuredathletesclub.com and click on shop to check it out.
Yes, as we always say, it's the best club you never want to join, but many of us will end up here at one time or another. And hey, what better way to feel like you belong than to wear the official gear? We would like to thank anyone who makes a purchase, and we'd also like to thank Lever Movement, who is the exclusive sponsor of this season of the Injured Athletes Club. They're the creators of the Lever System, a portable, lightweight device that attaches to a treadmill to reduce your body weight. That means less impact on your joints, so you can come back from injury safely or even prevent getting hurt in the first place. You can use the Lever System at home or take it to the gym and set it up in less than 2 minutes. And you can use code INJURED20 to get 20% off any device at levermovement.com. So check out Lever today and take your training to the next level. With that, let's get on to this week's question, which comes from listener Jacob. Jacob says, I'm feeling left out, although I know it's not intentional. I joined a racing team this year, but have had to withdraw from several races already due to recovering from a bone stress injury. I did too much too soon last year, and it finally caught me right after team training started. Go figure. There's another race this weekend that most of the team is running, and I'm always happy to support them. But it also sucks feeling like a wasted spot on the roster and not being able to attend any group runs or races while I'm recovering. Do you have any advice on handling this? Coach Carrie, what do you say to Jacob? It sucks. I'm so sorry, Jacob.
I know. It is such a bummer. So Jacob posted this comment to a question I asked in our Injured Athletes Club Facebook support group, which you should definitely check out if you haven't. And I was like, oh my goodness, this would be a great topic for the podcast. And so I reached out to him, and he very graciously has allowed me to answer it on the podcast. And he was like, that would be great. But I do want to say I had some additional correspondence with Jacob, and he wanted to assure me and everyone that his teammates are welcoming and supportive and that the feeling he's been experiencing is self-imposed. So that was important that he wanted to clarify, to make sure that I knew that and to clarify. Yes. But so Jacob, it absolutely makes sense that you are feeling left out. And man, that's a really tough situation to have just joined the racing team and then find yourself having to withdraw from multiple races. And it can, create this ping pong feeling of I'm part of the team, I'm not part of the team, I'm part of the team, I'm not part of the team. And I'm very familiar with that feeling that comes, like the feeling of guilt and or shame that comes when you feel like you've wasted a spot on the roster. And I've even worked with some professional athletes that when they're injured feel like they've taken a spot from someone else, or that spot is wasted and someone else deserves to be there that can contribute to the team. So it also makes sense to me that that feeling is coming up for you. That said, it's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. So I think it's really important in these situations to make sure that you recognize that you are part of the team, even when you're injured and cannot work out or race with the team. A quick way to challenge that thought of whether you're wasting a spot is to ask yourself, would you feel the same way if you found out that one of your teammates got injured and had to pull out of workouts and races? Would you feel like they were wasting that spot on the roster? So when you do that, when you ask yourself that question, one of two things will happen, both of which can help challenge your thinking, which is important. You'll either think, no, I would never think that about someone else. And therefore, you need to challenge yourself and ask, why am I thinking this about myself if I wouldn't think that about someone, a teammate? Or you think, yes, that person is unworthy and doesn't deserve that spot. And therefore, you need to challenge your definition of what makes someone worthy of being a valued member of a team, right? So to just do a little, once you ask yourself that question and really honestly answer it, and it's not a good or bad. We're not labeling this as there's a right or wrong answer here. It's oh, how do I feel about these types of situations? And is there something in there that needs to be challenged, right? So we do talk a lot. If you've been listening to the podcast or read our book Rebound, we talk a lot about how isolating it can feel when you're an injured athlete. Sometimes you feel isolated because people aren't in contact with you as much as they were. It can feel isolating because you're not able to train with the team, or you might be the only one that's injured. And other times we are self-isolating to protect ourselves from the difficult emotions that come up when you face the fact that you're injured and don't feel like you're a part of the team. And sometimes that self-isolation is literal. You actively keep yourself from going to the races or connecting with your teammates. But other times that self-isolation is more of an internal process because you feel like an outsider. So partly you're feeling left out because you are left out, right? That's just a fact that there's a part of the experience right now that you're not going to be able to do. And your job right now as an athlete isn't to train and compete. Your job is to take care of your body. That's your job. And that is how you continue to contribute to the team. So one thing to explore is whether you could attend some of the training runs and races, but in a different capacity. It is possible that you would feel less left out if there was some connection to the training runs and races. So, and this is where I see people sometimes self-isolate versus being isolated. You might self-isolate and not show up because that feels easier than dealing with the difficult emotions that come with being there and not being able to participate. Sometimes that feels painful. And the easiest way to avoid that pain is to not go. But then when you don't go, you do miss out on some of the potential benefits. So I've had athletes, depending on where they are in their recovery process, either go to the workouts and just do the warm up and that's their workout, or go to the workouts and do their rehab exercises while everyone else is doing the workout. So obviously, some of that depends on the nature of the workout and whether that fits that scenario. I've also had some that just strategically pick a workout where they're going to go at the very beginning as people are arriving or go at the very end to just be able to say hi and connect with people and maybe hang out after. And the same with races, where sometimes people will go to the race and just show up as a spectator and a cheerleader or be in some other support role for their team. And oftentimes when people tell us that they've had that thought of it was really, they were really conflicted and didn't know if they wanted to do it and wanted to go to the race, and then they went and they're really glad that they did. Right? So sometimes it's just overcoming the initial discomfort of the big emotions, right? So speaking of that, the other part of dealing with feeling left out is to let yourself feel it, right? Let yourself be bummed, let yourself be angry and disappointed, and let yourself grieve the season you thought you were going to have, right? So that's a really important part of the process to then, to allow yourself to feel those feelings. So then you can accept okay, this is where I am. And what can I do now to contribute to the team and still feel part of? So hopefully some of this helps, Jacob. I really, we're so grateful to you for letting us answer this on the podcast. I really think that other people are going to get a lot out of they're definitely identifying with what you're going through, and we'll get a lot out of us being able to answer your question on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much, Coach Carrie. And I think when I hear you talk about this, I think about so many of the athletes that we've interviewed on the show. Like I'm thinking of Savannah Coleman, for example, who, as on her collegiate soccer team at Stanford, she was injured and she really had to step up and take on a leadership role in a different way. And, I remember hearing her talk about how when they won the championship, even though she had been injured and wasn't on the pitch, she really felt like that was a shared accomplishment. So it is definitely not an easy process. And I know in a college setting, like it's a little bit of a different scenario where you maybe have to do that when you,
right.
As an adult, you might have different choices. But I think it just goes to show that, sometimes working through those, like you say, letting yourself feel those feelings, working through those emotions and finding a different way to connect, can ultimately be really rewarding. So I'm so glad, Jacob, that you let us answer this, that you have supportive teammates, and I'm hopeful that you can find a way to stay connected to them as you heal. We will be rooting for you, all of you, along the way. And thanks, as always, Carrie, for your expertise. Thanks to Jeremy Nessel for editing the show. And thanks to Lever Movement, our sponsor, for making it possible. Don't forget to click through on the show notes to check out the Lever system. If you have a question that you would like Coach Carrie to answer on an upcoming episode, you can post it in the group like Jacob did. You can email us at hello@injuredathletesclub.com. Or you can visit the Facebook page for the show and post it there too. Any way you want to communicate with us, we will take your questions and Coach Carrie would love to answer them. Finally, between episodes, if you aren't already a member, definitely join that Facebook group we're talking about because, it's great to stay connected to your team, but there's a whole other team there, a whole other group of people who are there to support you and root for you and who know what you're going through because they've been there too or they're there right now. So you can get links to that group and everything else we've talked about in the show at our website, injuredathletesclub.com. We'll see you there.